I'm in session right now.
Hello.
I'm in session. Hello, friends. Good evening to all of you. And friends, today we have Youth Excellence Symposium 7 in series. And I welcome all of you to this session, this series 7. And today we have with us very dignified faculties and very specific sessions on the opportunities, the tax structures, how to structure the transactions, and what are the tax laws, and what are the opportunity for our members at Dubai and Doha. And I welcome C. Harikishan Rankawat, who is the chairman of Dubai chapter of ICAI. I also welcome C. Vignesh Kalyanaraman, who is chairman of Doha chapter of ICAI. And they will deliberate. They are there in the activities of institute at that place, at those respective places. There are more than 10,000 chartered accountants in Dubai and Doha, and there are huge opportunities because new tax reforms are coming. The applicability of tax is increasing. The corporate tax has recently been launched, and very recently, couple of years back, only the GST has been initiated, and a lot of members are actually having a lot of business. These countries are actually business friendly and also our members friendly, and we are doing a lot of activities for our members and country as a whole over there, and supporting the institute over there. And hence we thought this was the best opportunity for our members who are still over here, and if you are willing to have their career at these places, to have a session, and so that our members are upgraded with their knowledge and can definitely have the opportunity to work over there and career over there. And I can share there, based on my experience, the chairman over there are so supportive and do lot of activities for our members. We do campus placement programs. We have also started international campus placements. We also do various other activities, the conferences, the programs at these chapters, and they are really a great support to the ICI as a whole. And again, so I welcome both our dignified speakers. I also welcome our moderators. I can see over here C.A. Veerav Dedia, C.A. Yogesh Bhanushali, C.A. Grishma Chheda, C.A. Ankush Gupta, C.A. Deep Chheda, who has put lot of efforts for organizing this session to interact with the faculties, what should be the content of the program, C.A. Gautam Mota also, and our office team, Shanu, Ruchi, and Jaya, with the support of whom this session is possible. So, friends, please take the best of the opportunities and best of the knowledge from this session, and any support required from Women and Young Members Excellence Committee. Myself, C. Preeti Saula, chairperson of this committee, assure you that we are there to support our members, and you can connect to us here in the chat box or anytime in future, one to one also. We are there to support you. With these words, I give the charge to the moderators.
Hello everyone. I'm CA Grishma Chheda, and I would take the pleasure task of introducing our today's speaker, CA Hari Krishnan Rankawat. He is a chairman of the ICAI Dubai chapter NPIO and president of Federation of Indian Industries. Along with this, he is also a certified public accountant from Dubai. He is accredited with the Capital Market Model certification from NSE and derivative certification from BSE. He is certified SAP R3 application consultant from SAP Germany and also possesses the IFRS certification from the ICAI. He has a post-qualification experience of almost 2.5 decades in the areas of auditing, strategic planning, cost reduction, pricing, budgeting, and rolling forecast, taxation, consolidation, statutory reporting as per IFRS and US GAAP, MIS, working capital, and cash flow management. He also does internal control and SOX compliance, policy and procedures implementation, company startup, project management, ERP implementation, etc. He has also written various articles for UAE newspapers and interviewed on radio. He is a regular speaker on VAT, ESR, companies law, and corporate tax in UAE. With this brief introduction, I would request you all to welcome our today's speaker, C. Harikrishnan sir, and would request him to take over the session from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Virishma, and thank you, Preeti, for your kind introduction. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of this august audience. I was thinking, in the morning that what to speak because you have given me two topics. One is tax compliances in the UAE, and another one is opportunities for the Indian chartered accountant in UAE. So I thought, I think members will be more interested in listening the opportunities for chartered accountants in UAE. So I will take up this topic first, and then we will discuss on the compliances in the UAE if the time permits. Let me start with my practical experience. In UAE. I landed in Dubai in around the year 2002, and prior to that, I was in Mumbai actually for 6 years working for Century Textiles and Industries Limited, Century Burn. From there, actually, I got an opportunity through one of my friend in Dubai in one of the largest group family conglomerate in Dubai, which is Al Futtaim Group. So I worked over there for 12 years. Then I worked with Philip Morris, Marlboro Cigarettes. I hope you guys would have heard about it. I worked there for about 5 years. Then I worked with one of the semi-government entity based in Dubai, Dubai World Trade Center. And in parallel, then along with my wife, we started few restaurants like Marwari Restaurant, Sagar Ratna Restaurant in Dubai. And then we exited in the money from this F&B sector. Then I started R&G Auditors in 2014, actually, based in Business Bay, Dubai. So we are having approved audit license from the Ministry of Economy, and we are also registered tax agent from Federal Tax Authority. Then last year, actually, I was thinking I was giving a lot of clients to investors who are coming from various parts of the world to my friends or to other real estate agents, and they were investing in the real estate. So then my wife told me, why don't we start a real estate brokerage firm? Because there are a lot of opportunities. People are coming in this dream city, Dubai. And then I thought, let's start it. And we started that venture as well. So at the end of the day, guys, we are qualified chartered accountants from India. So I believe we can do anything and everything. Always be open for anything. Whatever you want to start in UAE, it's very, business friendly city here. The things are very straightforward, very, very online and automated. So it's very easy to do any business, or it's very easy to get a job as well if you go through the right platform, which I will definitely share with you. As you guys are aware, that VAT was implemented in 2018, and then further there were other regulations which came up in the UAE, like economic substance regulation, which was introduced in the year 2019, then ultimate beneficial owner UBO in the year 2020, then an anti-money laundering was introduced in the year 2021. Then new UAE companies law was introduced in the year 2022. And now 2023, 1st June, corporate tax will be going live for the companies who have got their financial year starting from 1st of June. But if the companies are having their financial year from 1st Jan till 30th of December, or from 1st April till 31st of March, then for them, corporate tax will be implemented on 1st of Jan 2024. That's how it is. And as you know that UAE has signed an agree or or agreed with OECD and Financial Action Task Force. So there will be a lot of compliances coming up in future as well. So there are plenty of opportunities for the qualified chartered accountants like us, for sure. Now I would like to share the presentation which I have. Just give me a moment. Presentation is visible.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, great. So briefly about the UAE, I mean UAE has got 7 Emirates, and as you guys are aware, Abu Dhabi is the capital of UAE. Then Dubai is the one of the like most popular tourist destination in UAE. Then there are other 5 Emirates: Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah, Ajman, Fujairah, and Umm Al Quwain. And UAE economy, it is the second largest economy in the Arab world after Saudi. And as you guys are aware that Dubai particularly has diversified in trade and tourism, and tourism is one of the biggest non-oil revenue in the UAE. And Dubai has actually recently posted Expo 2020, which was a big success. And as a result of that, their brand value has gone up, and a lot of investors are coming up in the country. Then there are, like as I mentioned about the corporate tax. Yes, corporate tax is going to be the reality. So it is no more tax haven, but it will be only 9%, which is one of the lowest tax rate in the world. There is another country which is Hungary. Hungary is also having 9%, and UAE is also having 9%. Then you guys are aware that driverless taxi will be coming up very soon. In the, I think in the year 2024, sometime it will be live. Then UAE is doing a lot of things on the climate and green energy, green finance, and there are a lot many things happening on the SDG part as well as part of the COP28. This is one of the actually conference which is going to happen in the month of around November, December. So this is one of the biggest conference in terms of the SDG. Then Emiratization is happening. Local, you have to understand, because when we talk about the opportunities for the expats, there at many times, I mean, there, and nowadays Emiratization is happening in the country, and as of now, it is 4% of the total workforce has to be the local Emiratis. So yes, it is happening in the government sector, but it is not happening in the uh, free zone. Free zone is still, it's okay. So, and yeah, as you guys are aware that there are more than 45 free zones in the UAE, where I mean, tax rate is kind of, corporate tax rate will be 0%, subject to certain conditions you have to meet out. And then you know that the world's tallest hotel is here. Then Ferrari World, if you have gone to Abu Dhabi, that is happening. Then they have come up with recently 1,000 dirhams currency note as well. And in Abu Dhabi, there is one of the biggest Sea World as well. And world's largest snow park is again coming up in Abu Dhabi. And then many more, there are many more agendas actually, like D33. Agenda, which is like in the next 10 years, actually, they are planning to have their GDP double from here, from the year 2023. And then they are planning to have, office and residence very next to each other, so the traffic will be less. So they want to have a concept called 20-minute city concept by the year 2040, so you don't have to commute on the roads most of the time, and you can use your productive time for your job or business. And they have set a target of net zero carbon emission by 2050. So they are doing a lot of things. And uh, there are a lot of, like, you can see that UAE has become the #1 destination actually for job searches by overseas candidates. I was reading the newspaper, and so now let's have a look at strength of chartered accountants in UAE. As of now, I mean, this number 5,000. I can tell you, to be specific number, we have around 5,600 active members as we speak in Dubai alone. And out of that, 3,100 chartered accountants, we have the active members for the year. They have already paid the fees, and we are following up with the remaining chartered accountants. And Dubai is the largest overseas chapter in the world, as you guys are aware. And we are for the last 10 years, we have been winning the best award overseas chapter continuously along with Abu Dhabi. And Then you can see that in Saudi Arabia, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait, I mean, there are more than 1,000 chartered accountants in each of the country. So yes, there is, and I think these are the numbers which is registered with us. But there may be, like in Dubai alone, I think there are more than 8,000 chartered accountants, but they all are not part of our chapter because they are working in IT companies, or they don't think that we have to get associated with the ICIB chapter. But yes, I mean, we are trying to contact them, and we are trying to make them member. Thanks to LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram nowadays, we can connect through them. So that on that sector we are working, and you can see that there are various sectors in UAE. Uh, Oil and natural gas is the main one. Then definitely in Dubai, if you look at it, I would say manufacturing is very less, but trading is one of the sector whereby cross border, a lot of trading is happening in from the UAE, from the Dubai particularly. I would say from Jebel Ali Free Zone, or Jebel Ali Free Zone, or Jebel Ali Port, as you know, Jabja Port. Then apart from that, real estate and events and tourism, that is the actually upcoming, or rather it is like ongoing activity, and real estate is growing day by day. So there is an investment opportunity in the real estate. Even if you don't want to come for a job, you can always invest and make some fixed return. So the return is very good. And tourism is happening. I mean, as of now, the population of Dubai is around 2.3 million. But the tourist, if you look at it, I mean, generally in a year's time, more than 10 million tourists are coming up in mainly in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So there are a lot of people coming up in the country, and as a result of that, if you come to Dubai, there will be a lot of traffic as well nowadays. Uh, and because of the Russia and Ukraine war, I mean, now there are a lot of investments coming up in the country from there, and that investment is coming permanently. And then from China also, there is a lot of investment has already come up in the past, and currently also from China. Uh, Maybe, I mean, second wave will be coming up very soon in the real estate and business as such. So there are many things happening in Dubai as well, apart from Abu Dhabi. Then you can see that, yes, as you guys are aware, that Big Four is always there in terms of the network. You can see that PwC, Deloitte, EY, KPMG, then BDO, Baker Tilly, Grant Thornton, Crowe, RSM. These are the big networks which are available here, and most of the members are working here. And then you can look at few associations as well, GGI, Praxity, LEA, Morrison, KSI, AGN International. So these are the associations. I mean, there are a lot of companies associated with these global associations. And I have taken this number actually, or top 10 accounting firms in the Middle East. I have taken it from the International Accounting Bulletin World Survey 2022 for your information. Yeah, now if you look at it, because in Dubai you have to understand, or in Dubai alone, actually, there are more than 200 nationalities staying in Dubai. So there are chartered accountants, mainly majority of them are Indian chartered accountants. Then CMA from USA, CPA from USA, then ACCA from UK, and CIMA from UK, then MBAs from all over the world. So in the finance sector, I mean, all of these qualified accountants are competing for the jobs, and so there is always an opportunity for the Indian chartered accountant, and all the Big Four and all major family conglomerates, and even in the you can say in all the free zones as well, there is a great opportunity for Indian chartered accountants. Given the fact that now all of these compliances which we discussed, corporate tax, VAT, and all other compliances apart from anti-money laundering law. So there is an opportunity for sure. There is no doubt about it. And recently now corporate tax and transfer pricing. If you know transfer pricing, then there is a lot of opportunities available for the transfer pricing as well. So at the end of the day, I mean, I would say that you guys have to evaluate where you wish to be in the next 5 years. Always first you have to decide, I mean, whether you want to go in the industry or you want to go in the professional practice. Yeah, professional practice, there is one good news. Recently, Ministry of Economy has come up a new law for auditors. So if you are in the country and you have been working as an auditor for the last 5 years in UAE, number one. Number two, you are a chartered accountant from India. Number two. And number three, then you are eligible actually here to start your own audit practice with 100% ownership. Earlier, like it was like most of the time we have to take a local Emirati auditor as 100% owner, but now that is no more required. You can appear in three exams, which is very simple, like auditing, IFRS, and tax and regulation. You clear these three exams, then you will be awarded an auditor certificate. Once you are awarded an auditor certificate, then you can open your audit firm with 100% ownership, which is good news. So apart from practice, then you have banks. A lot of banks are hiring Indian chartered accountants right and left. And then as an entrepreneur, if you want to come, I mean, there is, as I mentioned you, that Dubai or UAE as such, I mean, is a very easy place to start your own business. It's very easy. I mean, we can open the company in 24 hours. The company can be opened. But the bank account opening will definitely take some time because they do their due diligence. All the banks, they are taking time. But yes, in a month's time, it can be opened. And then if you want to go in education and training, I mean, up to you. Nowadays, a lot of people are like, I've seen a lot of chartered accountants particularly, they are imparting the training on anti-money laundering and on the compliances, because all the employees working with the bank as well as with the exchange houses, now they have to go through the mandatorily training twice a year. So there is a great opportunity in that sector as well. Apart from that, government jobs, you can always look for the government jobs as well. And then there are non-profit organizations, and maybe you can have any other collaboration with the existing audit firm here in UAE, and you can start your work. As I mentioned, you audit and the opportunities for the practice in UAE, I already explained you that one, audit and assurance. You can always enter into the risk advisory services or a lot of BPO, that knowledge process outsourcing or business process outsourcing activities are happening from India. So a lot of organizations are outsourcing. So there also, I mean, you can look for an opportunity. Then transaction advisory services, tax advisory services, technology support services. I know a lot of my friends who are working in the technology side as well, and on the ERP implementation or maybe other technologies like SAP or ERP, SAP, Oracle Financial. There are a lot many ERPs. If you know that, then you can enter into an IT company as well for the ERP implementation. There is plenty of opportunity available in this regard as well. Then UAE jobs. Now, how can you look for a job in the UAE? There are 6 ways which I have put it here. The best one is like referral by friends. If any of your friend is working here, you can always ask him to help you. Then classifieds. Classifieds here in the newspaper, you can find a lot of news actually in the, or the vacancies available in the Gulf News and Khalis Times. There are a lot of newspapers here who are advertising a lot of vacancies in the classified section of the newspaper. Then you can contact recruitment agencies in UAE as well as in all the metro cities of India. I mean, a lot of recruitment agencies are there who are placing directly in UAE. So from there also you can take their help and get an offer. Then there are a lot of websites you can always go through for the firms, as well as there are other government agencies you can always look for. A lot of jobs are available on their portal as well. Then there are private job portals, which I will discuss with you in the next slide. Then there are networking websites. Most famous is LinkedIn. and I myself have got, got the appointment in Philip Morris as well as in Dubai World Trade Center through LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a powerful tool, I would say, for networking, and you can always connect with the employer directly, and you can apply online as well. So there are a lot of opportunities which you can encash through the networking LinkedIn website. Then you can have a look at it. These government websites. I've given you. Maybe I will share this presentation with Ruchi and Priti. They can definitely send this presentation to all the aspiring chartered accountants planning to come to Dubai or UAE. So these are the websites in all the 7 Emirates I have put here for your information, for your ready reference. And these are the private job portals like Michael Page, MightyPage, and Babs.com. Naukri Gulf is also here. Then one of the very most popular nowadays, Divisal and eFinancial Carrier. These are the most frequently visited websites by the employer as well as by the employees. And then there is Robert Half as well. So these are the few websites. I'll send you these links for your ready reference. See, typically, if you look at the salary levels in UAE, I have put it here kind of an average, which I have taken it from one of the website, math.com, and a few other websites I looked at. And based on my practical experience, I can tell you that for the compliance officer, the average per annum is like 200,000. Then financial controller, it is 300,000. For the finance manager, 180. Accountant, you can see 60. Financial analyst 120, and CFO is 500,000. So these are the average per annum, but again, it depends on your qualification and experience. I have seen, the huge gap between the salaries in various positions. So it all depends on the individual and his experience. See, these are the technical skills which we need to have, and many times, times and again, it has been emphasized that communication skill is one of the most softer skill apart from the technical skill, which we must have. And ICI India is doing a lot in this regard, and 6 months that training is also there in India after CA, so which helps us to improve the communication skill. And then always you need to have other soft skill like critical thinking, problem solving, strategic thinking skills, and then you need to have, because nowadays see, all the ERPs are there, so automatically everything is being accounted for. All the reports are being generated automatically through business objects, business info, business warehouse, BW, BI, business intelligence. So everything has been automated. So now the most important thing for all of us, like a chartered accountant, we need to have mainly the skill of business acumen. So we have to help the business and other decision makers in the company to help them in order to take the decision at the end of the day. And so we need to have solid experience actually in the business acumen side. That is more important nowadays. So you have to work as a business partner, which is more important. And then apart from leadership abilities, anyway, that is required. And nowadays, a lot of automation is happening. So there is a great requirement for the big data analytics, and together with high level of IT competencies. Uh, uh, Nowadays, Power BI is one of the great tool, which we need to have. And ICI Dubai chapter is organizing one of the workshop here as well for the benefit of our members. So there is a great opportunity if you are technically strong as well, apart from the CA qualification and other soft skills. Then, if you look at some prediction, Gartner has predicted that 1.8 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence. But yes, they also mentioned the fact that it will also help to create 2.3 million new jobs. So yes, there is an opportunity always whenever there is a scarcity. So we don't have to worry with the artificial intelligence or all of those things, because we as a chartered accountant, we are not merely an accountant. We are chartered accountant. So we always have an opportunity to work with the the businessmen and decision makers, and we can always add value wherever we go, as I understand. And nowadays, you can see in the next line, I mean, like most of the CFOs nowadays, they are responsible not for the finance. Nowadays, apart from the financier, they are responsible for functions outside the finance. So yes, we have to have our participation in business more rather than on the numbers, which can be done automatically through artificial intelligence nowadays. And these are the few other things which we need to know. I mean, and I always tell them. I mean, every single chartered accountant nowadays, fresh or whoever is coming up in the country or wherever I meet, that always God has given one mouth to speak and 2 ears to hear. So always you have to listen more and speak less. So you need to have a solid listening capacity as well, apart from the speaking. So that's an effective communication. And always you should try to try to do some new things rather than worry of failure. So always whenever you fail, you learn a new thing. So always try new things. Then only we will be successful in our whether we are in business or profession or in the job. So these are the things which I just wanted to discuss on the opportunities in the UAE. Now maybe I can share with you some of the taxes and compliances which have already been introduced in the country since 2018. As I mentioned you that value-added tax has come up in the year 2018, then economic substance, then ultimate beneficial owner, and then now AML has already been introduced, company laws have been amended, then UAE corporate tax is going to be implemented on 1st of June 2023. But yes, it will be applicable for most of the organization from 1st of Jan 2024. I will go through the, I mean, in nutshell only, I will just highlight. I am not going to go in detail as such. Now, if you look at corporate tax, as you guys are aware, it's a direct tax, and then it was actually Federal Decree Law number 47 of 2022 was issued, so which is a taxation on the corporations and businesses. So on the corporations and businesses means, yes, it is applicable on the companies, all the companies incorporated in the UAE. But if any individual is doing any sort of business in the personal capacity and he has not registered as a licensee in the mainland or the free zone, then also corporate tax will be applicable on him. And he has to register and file the corporate tax return on annual basis and pay the taxes. And as I mentioned, UAE corporate tax will be effective on 1st of June 2023, and the tax period will be 12 months. And now, let's understand the residential tax status. I mean, how it will work. Basis of taxation. I mean, like India, it is divided in two parts: resident and non-resident. For the resident, their worldwide income will be taxable once it is decided that okay, you are a resident as per the UAE corporate tax law, and then non-resident definition is very simple. Who is not resident? That's how it is. And for all non-residents, I mean, their income pertaining to UAE or UAE sourced income will be taxable in the UAE. Rest of the income, whatever way they are earning worldwide, will be taxable in those respective countries. This is how it is. And then under resident, you can divide further legal person, which is incorporated in the UAE. And a legal person like whoever is registered either in the mainland or the free zone, then they will be taxable. If they are in the mainland, then it will be taxable. Their taxable profit will be taxable at the rate of 9%. And if it is free zone, then it will be 0%. But there are few other conditions which will be discussed in the later slides. Then foreign companies, if they are having any permanent establishment in the UAE, then it will be taxable. That UAE sourced income will be taxable at the rate of 9%. And in case of non-resident, as I mentioned you, their UAE sourced income will be taxable for natural persons or any unincorporated partnership in the UAE will be taxable at the rate of 9%. And if there is any natural person, as I mentioned you, under non-resident, then their income derived from outside UAE will be taxable only when it relates to the business activities conducted in the UAE. That's what I already mentioned you guys. Now, non-resident persons again can be divided in two parts. Having PE, permanent establishment in the UAE. If yes, then their UAE sourced income will be taxable at the rate of 9%. And if there is no PE in the UAE, then UAE sourced income, actually we have to deduct 0% withholding tax. So as of now, the withholding tax is 0%, but it means there may be an intention of the FTA or Federal Tax Authority to increase in future. But as of now, it is 0%, which is a good news. And if there is any sort of nexus in the UAE, nexus definition is still not defined, so we are waiting for the cabinet decision for further clarification on this one. But yes, if there is any nexus in the UAE, then it will be taxable at the rate of 9%. Now, these are the few items. I mean, whether income has a source in the UAE or not. If the income is earned from the UAE resident person, or if it is earned from the UAE PE or a foreign company, or if the income is derived from any activities or contracts performed in the UAE or assets in the UAE or the rights used for the economic purposes in the UAE, then it will be considered as UAE sourced income and it will be taxable in the hands of resident as well as non-resident in the UAE at the rate of 9%. Now, there are few exempt persons. So you can see that it is there. All the government entities and government controlled entities, a person engaged in an extractive business or non-extractive business, then all those business, if you are conducting these four businesses, then it shall be subject to tax. There is a tax actually for them, a separate tax which is already there in place. Corporate tax has come now, but it is on these government entities and government control entities and extractive and non-extractive. There is a separate tax already imposed by the government a couple of years back. And then if you are a public pension or social security fund or a private pension or social security fund or a qualifying investment fund or a person in the UAE that is wholly owned and controlled by exempt person, then they have to submit an application to the authority for exemption. Then only it will be exempted. Then there are few qualifying public entities like mosque, church, temple. They have listed out more than I think 1,000 qualifying public benefit entities. So if you are giving them any charitable contribution or then those will be exempted from the corporate tax. Then these are the 5 exempt incomes. You can see that any dividend, if you are generating any dividend and other profit distribution, if you are generating from a resident to a juridical person, so from domestic company, if you are getting any dividend and other profits, that will be exempt income. Then another one is dividend and other profit. If you are receiving from the foreign juridical person, from the foreign, then that will be exempt, subject to that you don't have the participation interest more than 5%. So if you have more than 5%, then dividend will be taxable in the UAE. Otherwise, it will be an exempt income. Then income of a foreign permanent establishment. If the rate of tax, foreign tax rate, if it is more than 9% in the foreign country, then it will not be taxable. It will be exempt here. But if it is less than that, then yes, it will be taxable here as well in the UAE. Then income derived by a non-resident person from operating aircraft or ships and in international transportation, that will be considered as exempt income. And any other income like capital gain from a participating interest, then that will be also considered as exempt income. Now, if you look at few other items, like as I mentioned, you can divide the companies either in the mainland or free zone. So if you are in the mainland, then taxable income or taxable profit up to 375,000, 0% tax rate is there, and more than 375,000 dirhams, it will be 9%. And qualifying free zone persons, then it will be like now further, if free zone is dealing with the mainland, mainland in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or wherever, then on that income, mainland income profit, there will be 9% tax. Otherwise, it will be 0% if you are getting the business from foreign. So, but yes, qualifying income definition is still, it has not been declared by the ministry. So we are still waiting for that. But yes, if you are in the free zone and if you are dealing outside the UAE, your business is like with third port or third countries, then your taxable profit will be taxed at 0%. So still free zone, they are enjoying that exemption. And recently they have introduced one new small business relief. Like if you are having a annual turnover of 3 million or less, then up to 31st December 2026, you are exempted from the corporate tax. Whether you are in the mainland or free zone, doesn't matter. So that is good news for the startup mainly. And as I mentioned, UAE corporate tax will be implemented from 1st of June 2023, and you have to file your corporate tax return and you have to settle your corporate tax liability within 9 months from the end of the relevant tax period. So here it is very business friendly. You have 9 months to submit your tax return. And then further accounting year, I have defined further that if your accounting year is from July to June, then effective, corporate tax will be effective from 1st of July 2023. If you are Jan to December, April to March, then it will be in the year 2024. Free zones, as I mentioned you, there are certain conditions. So you have to maintain the adequate substance in the UAE. If you are having a company in the free zone and you are not having any substance, like you are not having any employee, you are not having any office, you are not incurring any operating expenditure in the country, then you are not having adequate substance in the UAE. And then, tax will be charged at the rate of 9% instead of 0%. Then you have to have compliance with the transfer pricing rules and documentation requirement. And you should be deriving only qualifying income, means either you should be generating your income in the free zone or from foreign countries. Then you will be eligible for 0%. And there is an option always that you can elect for either 0% or 9%. So it's up to you. Then Chapter 9 of the corporate tax law is with regard to deductions. So if you look at Article 28 is for deductible expenditures and Article 33 is for non-deductible expenditures. Under Article 28, I can go through in the next slide, you will be able to understand. Deductible expenditure, that will be the expenditure will be deductible only when it is incurred wholly and exclusively for the purpose of the business. If there is any element of this expenditure you are incurring for your business, and other purposes, like if any expenditure is mixed, like some portion is for business, some portion is pertaining to business, then you have to further divide that expenditure into two parts: identifiable and non. Just a minute. So you have to divide that expenditure into identifiable portion. If it is identifiable portion very clearly and pertaining to business, then you can take the deduction for that business related expenditure. And unidentifiable portion, you have to identify the appropriate portion based, or you have to allocate based on some cost drivers, or if you are using an office for your business as well as for personal purposes, then you have to, maybe based on the area, square feet, you can divide how much portion you are using it for business as well as for other personal purposes. Then the other expenditures will be non-deductible expenditure if you are incurring for your personal, if it is for not for the business, if it is for your personal reason, or if it is for if this expenditure is pertaining to exempt income, then if there is any loss which is not related to business, and any other expenditure which will be notified in the upcoming cabinet decisions. There are few examples which I am not going through here because we have the restriction of the time as well. Then interest expenditure, interest will be deductible in the period when it is incurred. So there are like this interest is divided in two parts: general interest deduction and specific interest deduction limitation rule. So let's have a look at it. Article 29 further. First of all, you have to calculate net interest expenditure. Net interest expenditure, maximum it will be allowed up to 30% of EBITDA as adjusted for the corporate tax purposes. So 30% is the limit. And how will you calculate net interest expenditure? It is very simple: interest expenditure minus taxable interest income. And then you can add back whatever net interest expenditure you couldn't claim because of the maximum capping rules of 30%. You can always brought forward your net interest expenditure and can claim up to subsequent 10 years, but in the same order, like in the FIFO, first in first out. And this capping rules is not applicable on the bank, insurance provider, and natural person. I have given one example here. I will share with you this presentation so you guys can have a look at it. Then Article 31 is for specific interest deduction limitation rule, and clause 1, they have defined that any interest expenditure which is on the related party loan, it will be disallowed. If it is related party loan, it will be disallowed if it is with the related party. And you are taking that loan for the purpose of distributing dividend or profit distribution, return of share capital or capital contribution, or for acquiring any ownership interest with the related party, then it will be disallowed. And then they mention further that clause 1 shall not apply where the taxable person, if he can demonstrate that the main purpose of obtaining the loan and carrying out the transactions referred under clause 1 was not to gain a corporate tax advantage. So if you can prove that, then it will be allowed. And clause 3, they mention that corporate tax advantage shall not be deemed to arise where the related party is already subject to corporate tax equal to or greater than 9% in their foreign jurisdiction. So if you're already paying tax in foreign jurisdiction at a rate more than 9%, then it will not be considered as a corporate tax advantage, and interest will be allowed even to related parties. There are few examples. I'm not going through those. Then entertainment expenditure, that entertainment expenditure is always a debate worldwide, and it will be allowed up to 50% of your actual incurred entertainment expenditure or amusement expenditure or recreation expenditure during the tax period. Then entertainment expenditure has to be incurred either for customers, suppliers, stakeholders, or shareholders and other business partners. Here you can note down that they have not mentioned specifically the employees. Employees are not, I think they have not considered, but let's wait and watch. I mean, if they include in the business partner, then yes, any expenditure incurred for the entertainment with the employees, then that might be allowed. But as of now, we assume that it is not allowed. And then these entertainment expenditure has to be incurred for meals, accommodation, transportation, admission fees, facilities and equipment, and any other expenditure specified by the ministers. So these are the 6 types of expenditure which will be allowed, up to 50% of the actual entertainment expenditure incurred during the year. These are the few examples. I am not going through those because of the constraint of time now. Yes, Article 33 is about non-deductible expenditures. These are the external giveaways. If you are giving any donation, grant, or gift, if you are making these donation to a qualifying public entity as listed in the cabinet decision, it will be allowed. Otherwise, it will not be allowed. Any fines and penalties, bribes, or other illicit payments will not be allowed strictly. And these are the examples you can go through later on. Then internal giveaways. If you are giving dividends or to yourself or to honor or shareholder, then any drawings that will not be allowed. These are the examples again. And then if there are few non-deductible expenditures which is taken by the government, corporate tax, recoverable VAT input. So if it is irrecoverable VAT input, then you can always claim the deduction for that. But recoverable VAT input has already been recovered, so it will not be deductible expenditure. Then any income tax imposed outside the state or any other expenditure as specified by the minister in their ministerial decisions or cabinet decisions. Then these are the few examples. Yeah, so this is the summary. As I mentioned, you external giveaways, internal giveaways, and government takeaways. These are the non-deductible expenditures. These are the few examples. Again, you can go through. Then, if you guys are aware, I think in India anyway, transfer pricing guidelines are applicable for in India already, and here also they have taken the model convention of OECD. Same concept they have taken, and they have implemented the transfer pricing here based on that model and convention. So all the taxable income transactions and arrangements between the related parties, it has to meet the arm's length principle. It has to meet the arm's length principle always. And there are various transfer pricing methods you can apply as per the OECD guidelines. And then yes, you have to adjust your taxable income based on those arm's length principle if the transaction is at non-arm's length basis. Then these are the few methods I'm not going to discuss because you guys are already aware. Then transfer pricing documentation, master file, local file, all those are applicable here as well. One good news is tax losses can be carried forward and set off for an indefinite number of years. Like unlike in India, I think it is allowed only for 8 years. Here it is indefinite, which is a very welcome move for the business by the UAE government. And tax losses in any year, it can be set off maximum up to 75% of the taxable income. Then you can carry forward for an indefinite period. Just a minute. These are again same thing. A tax grouping, you can always make a tax group if the parent company is holding more than 90% of the share capital, voting rights, and profit rights. And you cannot form a tax group with an exempt person or free zone with the mainland company. That you have to take care. But tax grouping, you can do it if it is like you are having for all the companies same financial year and same accounting standards. I think I'm running short of time, or I have some time. Hello?
Sir, you can still extend for another couple of minutes.
Okay, I think I've reached at the last one. Here, if you look at it like registration, yes, you can register now, and the corporate tax return is due within 9 months from the end of the financial year, from the end of your accounting year. Then individuals, I mentioned, if they are doing the repetitive business, even they have to register, not only companies. Then free zone persons, I already discussed. Record keeping, you have to keep the records for 7 years. And POEM, like in India, we have come up here, economic substance regulation. So you need to have the solid economic substance in the country by having an office, by having employees, by incurring the operating expenditure in the UAE. and general anti-abuse rule like GAR you have in India, so that is also applicable here, already implemented here. So if you are trying to obtain a corporate tax advantage by changing your accounting year or by maybe shifting your company from the mainland to the free zone, then you have to have solid economic or some rationale behind that change in the enterprise structure. Otherwise, it will be rolled back and taxes will be charged accordingly by the federal tax authority. And then VAT is there. VAT is standard rate 5% here. And if you are doing the export, then it is zero rated. And VAT will be applicable only when, I mean, there are like two registration limits. I mean, mandatory and voluntary. Mandatory registration applicable if you are having annual turnover exceeding 375,000, and voluntary registration if you are exceeding your turnover by 187,500 in the last 12 months, then you can go for the voluntary registration. Then designated zone, if you are having your company in the designated zone, which is fenced and managed by the custom authority, then in that case, VAT will not be applicable on the goods movement between the designated zone and foreign countries. But if you are dealing in the mainland, then 5% VAT will be applicable. But if you are doing any export, then it will be zero rated. And then economic substance regulation, they have defined actually 9 relevant activities. If you are doing any of these activities, then economic substance regulation will be applicable, and you have to submit your notification as well as reporting. Ultimate beneficial ownership, UBO has already been introduced in the year 2020. So you have to disclose your UBO. If it is not like if it is a company as a shareholder, then you have to go further and you have to declare the ownership of that company. If you are not able, if you are not having the clarity on the UBO, then the ultimate the decision maker will be the UBO of that company in the UAE. And further it is defined as if you are holding equity more than 25%, then you will be considered as UBO of the company. I think I am done, sir. Thank you very much. If there is any question, I can take it up.
Thank you, CA Harikishan sir, for this detailed presentation. We have couple of questions. I'll take them up and maybe you can respond to them.
Yeah.
So the first question that we have, sir, is from where can we read out the corporate tax of the UAE? So something like how we have an income tax act for India.
Yeah. No, I can tell you. I mean, here there are a lot many presentations which I have, and corporate tax law I can share with you exactly. I will send it to Ruchi, and she can share with all. But one good news is ICI, I think tax committee, International Tax Affairs Committee, they have come up with a corporate tax book, UAE corporate tax book of 420 pages, which is available on their ICI India website in rupees 630. It's a great compilation, I would say, and we were working along with the ICI India on that, and it has all been printed and available online. You guys can, but I will share again with Ruchi, so she can share with everyone.
Great, great. So all those who want to, take reading or just understand the laws, they can have a understanding of the institute's book as well as the primary book as well.
Law. Yes.
Sir, the second question is, who can practice in Dubai? Any experience criteria or audit criteria that is required?
So, sir, as I mentioned you that new UAE auditors law has already been introduced, and as a result of that, there are 3 criteria which I mentioned you, that you should be working as an auditor in the UAE, number 1. Number 2, you should be a qualified chartered accountant, fellow chartered accountant, FCA. And number 3, then you have to appear in 3 exams here. Once you clear those 3 exams, then you will be awarded a UAE auditor certificate by the Ministry of Economy UAE, and then you can start your own practice with 100% ownership.
Great. Great. So another question that we have from the audience is, that institute has been helping the members on a very large scale in India and also abroad. So what are the initiatives that the UAE chapter or the Dubai chapter has undertaken for the members?
Sir, we
If you
have
can throw some.
started an initiative with ICI India for international placements, and that placement, there are a lot many companies apart from the local as well as MNC companies are coming up in that placement, which was done last year as well in Dubai, and it will be redone again this year as well. We are already working on to it, and that the details is being shared by ICI India with all the Indian chartered accountants. So that is one of the initiative we have taken. Another initiatives like for those chartered accountants who are already here, and if they have lost the job or if they want to change the job, then we have created WhatsApp group here, and we always all the employers or senior chartered accountants working as CFO or CEO is various companies, they are advertising their vacancies on this platform, and people are, I mean, like all Indian chartered accountants are getting benefited out of this. But yes, international placement happening in Dubai is one of the best platform. I mean, always anybody can avail. I mean, yes, they have to travel here. But I hope, I think in India also, last year they have done, I remember, I mean, you can keep in touch with ICI India. They have done it in Delhi, actually, international placement, which was done successfully, and a lot of fresh chartered accountants were absorbed by various UAE entities.
Understand. And in fact, the Dubai chapter has also opened a skill development program for the members, so that can also be of great
Yes,
assistance to
yes.
them.
We are working with, see, there is a branch of ICI India in Knowledge Village here in Dubai. So we are working with the ICI India branch here very closely, and help the clients, I mean, like help the chartered accountants when new fresher chartered accountant who is coming up from India to Dubai. We are always available at their disposal anytime.
Great. Another question, sir, is a bit specific, which says, how conducive is the working environment for women in the UAE region?
Sir, it is one of the most safest part of the world, I would say, in Dubai or UAE as such. There is a high regard for the women in UAE. I mean, it is the most safest. I can tell you. Even if my wife and daughter, if they are traveling in the overnight as well, 2 o'clock in the night, there is no problem, sir. I can tell you. I mean, this is one of the most safest country in the world, which you can vouch from Googling it. I mean, you will find all the detail. And particularly women are highly regarded, I can tell you. Even at the airport when they land, if any lady is having a like kid in her hand, I mean, definitely she will be asked to go on a priority lane, and she will be out from the airport in no time. So they really regard very high, and at least to women. I mean, any
Great.
woman, any nationality, any race. I mean, there is no problem as such.
Great. So, sir, we have now, various laws which have already been implemented now with corporate tax, VAT, transfer pricing, everything coming up, including TMLA and all, which has now been come up. Is there any scope for individual taxation similar to what we have here in India? Is it something similar on cards now? And there's one more related question to this as to considering that there are, audits for the companies also. Is there any pre-qualified limits like the turnover criteria or something similar that is there, which has been specified?
Yeah, as far as the individual taxation is concerned, I mean, UAE Ministry of Finance or Federal Tax Authority have not given any inclination for that. So I don't see in near future any individual taxation will be coming up. But yes, it might come. Who knows? At a later date, things are shifting so rapidly, so we don't know. But as of now, there is no taxation on the individual's salaries and other income. But as far as the another question was pertaining to audit limit
Limits, yes.
threshold.
Yes.
In the UAE corporate tax law, they have given a limit of actually 50 million dirhams turnover, annual turnover. If it is more than that, then audit is mandatory. Otherwise, it is not. But for your information, as per the UAE Companies Law 2015, which was again amended in the year 2021, as per the UAE Companies Law, I mean, audit for all the limited liabilities company is mandatory actually, as per the company law, as well as per the memorandum of association, what they submit to the Dubai Economic Development Department or any authority. So it is actually mandatory, but it is not practiced as of now. But yes, now as per the UAE corporate tax law, more than 50 million dirham or annual turnover, those companies have to be mandatorily audited.
Understand. Thank you, sir, for this very detailed answer. With this, I would take this opportunity to give a hearty vote of thanks, and I'm very proud to provide a hearty vote of thanks to CA Harikishan Rankawat, sir, who has not only provided a brief understanding of the UAE jurisdiction, wherein there are detailing about the FTZs, the emeritization, the 20-minute city concept. He has also, provided detailed understanding of the practice, CA practice, apart from, undertaking how to start a job, how to look for it, the various salary details, or the starting, details as to how we can apply. What all skills are needed, like say understanding of business acumen, IT skills, big data analysis, or or AI automations. There is more of, he has also highlighted things like change of mindset that has been required. He also highlighted things like what all initiatives is the institute taking up for the members, along with the young members and experienced members both. He explained in detail about the corporate taxation and the VAT laws that are now coming up, or VAT as it has been already there in force. I'm sure that the members have gained a lot of experience out of this, and they have gained a lot of knowledge out of this. And on behalf of the institute and on behalf of the members, I present this hearty vote of thanks to you, sir. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for this session.
Thank you very much, Virav. Thank you very much, and for giving me this opportunity and sharing my knowledge. Sharing is caring. At the end of the day, whatever knowledge we can impart to the fraternity, I'm always available at any time for your disposal. Thank you very much once again, and I will leave because I have to go for another meeting. So I will be leaving in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. And with this, I hand over to CA Ankush Gupta for the proceedings.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I am Mr. Ankush, and today I would like to introduce our second speaker for the evening, Mr. C.A. Vignesh Kalyanaranam. He is the chairperson of the Goa chapter of ICAI. I would like to give a short introduction of him. He is a chartered accountant and a certified internal auditor and a certified information system auditor with over 15 years of global experience. He is a director at Productivity and focuses on risk advisory and intelligent automation and analytics solutions. He has vast global experience across India, Middle East, Europe, Japan, South Asia, Africa, Europe, and the America, assisting clients solve business challenges. He has engaged with large multinational entities in assisting them and enhancing and transforming their audit and risk functions. He believes that the gap between business and technology is narrowing day by day and is imperative for professionals to embrace technology to stay relevant. Vignesh is a regular speaker and associated with Global Audit and Risk Association. He also enjoys traveling, visiting, and learning different cultures. He is an avid reader and enjoys playing table tennis. So I heartily welcome Mr. Vignesh. Thank you so much, Vignesh. Over to you.
Thank you, CA Ankush, and thanks a lot to your Women and Young Members Committee for this opportunity. It is definitely, as Harikishan mentioned, it is our pleasure to impart knowledge and the opportunity that we get. It's it's our pleasure, and we are happy to do that as and when possible. Harikishan did speak a lot about the Dubai market, and it was quite informative. I think now let's talk about what it is, what's in store, or what does Doha or the state of Qatar, have in store in terms of opportunities and track structure for Indian chartered accountants. Before I move on to sharing my screen and my presentation, I'd like to just also give some background about how I started and how I moved into the Middle East. So it's been over 15 years now for me in the Middle East. I did work in India and then moved to Kuwait initially, but then have been in Qatar for close to a decade now. Uh, though very similar, each country is very peculiar in the Middle East, and there are slight differences that you would notice from country to country. The GCC, as such, the Gulf Cooperation Council, does work on a framework when it comes to economic laws and tax frameworks. However, the internal application within each country differs based on its own decision making within each country. When I moved into Qatar, or close to about 9 years ago, I think it was uh, a country that was progressing, a country that was forward looking. And I think I'm not sure how many of you, with the World Cup over the last few months ago, I think everybody would have heard about Qatar. It was a great opportunity or event for the whole of the Arab world and for the Middle East. And it put the Arab world on the map, and especially Qatar. With the World Cup there, now everybody, otherwise, I must say, everybody used to think of Middle East, so Dubai, or, and then now people do understand that there is much more to the Middle East than Dubai and the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Of course, I will also touch upon the professional opportunities initially, and we will also, as we go by, talk about the tax structure within Qatar, and also about the Doha chapter of ICAI. I must say that the Doha chapter of ICAI is the first and the oldest overseas chapter. So today you have the oldest chairman of the oldest overseas and the big chapter and the biggest overseas chapter speaking to you. So I think it's a coincidence in a way or so. The chapter was formed in 1981, so that's even before I was born. So we've been ICA has had representation in the state of Qatar for close to 42 years now. Now, without much ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. And I hope, is the screen visible? Thank you. So, we'd like to, as I go about this discussion, you would notice that there are a lot of similarities between what you heard from Harikishan on in terms of what you saw in Dubai and in the UAE, as well as what you see in Qatar. I will also definitely do touch upon cases where there are differences between how, between the state of Qatar and UAE in general. And but when you combine these two, this is what you would see in the Middle East as such. And it is definitely a land of opportunity. And day by day, the number of chartered accountants in this region is growing. There is a lot, we notice even within Qatar, within our own chapter, the number of members growing every month on month. So that itself is a sign that there are a lot of opportunities. Not only members, we also see a lot of Indian chartered accountant firms setting up business in the state of Qatar. Is it visible now? Or
No,
no?
sir.
One moment. Sorry for this. Just give me a moment. Visible now?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's technical issues that we all have to grapple with nowadays. So, we do see a lot of opportunities growing by the day. And we not only for members, we also see a lot of chartered accountant firms setting up their business in the state of Qatar. And when we talk about gone are the days when CAs are coming into this part of the world just to look at accounting assurance and audit. It's moved further and it's more towards technology, data, digital, and those are the kind of areas where Indian chartered accountants are getting involved in. Now, for those who may not know, I'll just briefly touch upon the state of Qatar, this small peninsula in the Arabian Gulf. It was founding member of the Gulf Cooperation Council. It's a very small country in terms of size. It's about 11,000 square kilometers. It's a constitutional monarchy with a population of 3 million. That's probably very, very small as compared to Indian standards. Of course, out of the 3 million, 85% of this population are expats. So just 15% of this are locals. And this 10% has actually become a bit higher, and the expats numbers going down a bit. It's a rich country per capita. The last number that came out in 2022 was about 93,000 US dollars being the per capita income for the state of Qatar. And that would actually put it as one of the richest countries per capita globally. It is one of the safest countries, as was recorded by the Numbeo survey of 2022, and was also highlighted as the safest country in the Arab world. It is indeed very, very safe. It's the third largest producer of natural gas behind Russia and Iran. And of course, I have to touch upon the World Cup 2022. It would be hard to talk about Qatar without talking about the World Cup. It was such a spectacle that was held in such a small. It was for the first time you could watch two matches within the same day, and it was a lifetime experience. Now, why Qatar as such, and what's in store? Why should you look at Qatar, or what did we all look at Qatar as, and what did we gain from Qatar? It's a very progressive economy, as I talked about. It's a very progressive country. When I came here 9 years ago to what it is today, the country is growing internationally, locally, advancing with in terms of technology, in terms of systems, and in terms of how business is conducted. It's a very cosmopolitan environment, over 125 nationalities. That's the number that I know, but I think it's much more, reside in the state of Qatar. And it's very investment friendly. Qatar encourages a lot of foreign direct investment and is very business friendly. There is a lot of opportunity, both from a free zone as well as a financial offshore business to the onshore mainland business. It's got a global outreach. Qatar has positioned itself on the international political map, being part of various international organizations, as well as being very, very well connected globally. Compensation and minimal taxation. Compensation is is very, very high in Qatar, but at the same time, I must say the cost of living is also very high. It's a case of value for money, I should say, and minimal taxation. Even of course, there is no as similar to the UAE. There is zero personal income tax. However, there is corporate income tax with, of course, certain exemptions that I will mention. The Qatari riyal is a very stable currency, and it's pegged against the dollar. So you don't see a lot of fluctuation in terms of the currency. Looking at all this, it definitely is a case or a country that one can look at to invest, to conduct business, or to spend time as part of employment, or stay in the state of Qatar. From an economic standpoint, just the sheer size of the economy of the country, we're talking about 300 billion US dollars of GDP. Major reserves, of course, revenues, of course, coming from oil and gas. Though the country is looking at diversifying itself into non-oil and gas sectors, tourism, sports, and knowledge-driven economy is being given a lot of importance within Qatar. The National Vision 2030 talked about Qatar becoming self-sufficient and diversified, and the reliance on oil and gas related revenues getting reduced. Of course, all of you must have the self-sufficient part of it self-reliance part of it came up through certain things that Qatar went through over the last 5-6 years. You must have heard about the regional blockade through which Qatar went through from 2017 to 2020, and how successfully the country overcame that and has now become self-reliant, giving a lot of business opportunities to the locals and expats alike. The budget 2023 actually was a $10 billion surplus. Even though it shows a $10 billion surplus, it was actually a case of the budget coming down slightly as compared to the previous year because of the investments and expenses incurred as part of the World Cup. It's got a strong sovereign wealth fund, one of the strongest, I would say, with major investments across the world, be it in sports, football clubs, be it hotels in London and in New York and in Europe, or be it institutions or airlines. You name it, and you would find Qatar being the Qatar sovereign wealth fund having invested in those. So all in all, a very strong country economically, a very safe country to live in, and also a very business-friendly, investment-friendly country, which encourages and gives opportunities alike for Indian chartered accountants. I always believed, as was said in my introduction as well, that CAs are beyond numbers, and gone are the days when we're looking at audit and audit alone or assurance. Today, Indian chartered accountants, even within Qatar, are getting involved in a lot of other areas. The Qatar National Vision 2030, which actually drives the country, talks about aiming or to transform Qatar into an advanced country capable of sustaining its own development and providing a high standard of living. Sustaining its own development, which actually has helped in setup of business. The Qatari government has encouraged with its recent registrations on encouragement for startups and also encouragement for foreign investment and setup of business. High standards of living. Qatar has always encouraged high standards of living in terms of for both expats as well as locals, in terms of quality of life that you have as well as safety. Now, overall, this is a background in terms of how the entire why Qatar stands and what is Qatar as such. It is a small country, of course, and doesn't have but then that's an advantage as well to it. Now, let's move on to the tax structure, and then I will talk about opportunities for Indian chartered accountants, and then move on to a couple of slides on what Doha chapter of ICAI does. So from a tax structure standpoint, there is no personal income tax yet. And of course, there is no GST or value added tax yet in Qatar. Qatar was part of the GCC framework on VAT. However, due to reasons such as the blockade, World Cup, and various other reasons, VAT has not yet been introduced. There is talk of VAT being introduced sometime next year, of course, which gives opportunities to chartered accountants to help organizations set up their systems and processes for being compliant with VAT. So today, even we do not have personal income tax or VAT in the state of Qatar. So, so corporate tax as such exists, and it is levied at a flat rate of 10% with certain exemptions. Now, these exemptions, similar to the UAE, include those where organizations are wholly owned by Qatari nationals or GCC nationals that are resident in Qatar, government organizations, oil and gas organizations are taxed differently under a different bracket. And of course, any other ministries all fall into the exempt category. In case of payments to non-residents, a withholding tax of 5% is leviable. And then in terms of an audit, all organizations that are listed or a limited liability company are required to get their books audited if their capital exceeds 200,000 Qatari riyal, or if their income exceeds 500,000 Qatari riyal, or if their head office is situated outside Qatar. If I kept saying or, because if any of these are satisfied, then they would also be liable to be, they would also have to get their books audited. So it's a very simple corporate tax law that was introduced, and a flat rate of 10% is levied. The Qatar governments for submission. Then an excise tax law was also introduced from 1st January 2019 in line with the GCC treaty. That excise tax has then since been introduced and levied on goods that are damaging to consumer health and products such as tobacco, energy drinks, and special purpose goods at a rate of 100% or 50%. The corporate Qatari foreign direct investment law was also introduced in 2019. The law regulates foreign direct investment and allows up to 100% ownership, except in security critical industries. Foreign companies can register a branch in Qatar for the purpose of carrying out contracts concluded within a ministry, with a government authority, public body, or institution in which it owns a share. Now, there are two ways of setting up an organization within Qatar. I will touch upon those. But before that, also in terms of WHT, as I mentioned, a 5% withholding tax is to be levied on payments to non-residents of Qatar. And these withholding tax returns need to be submitted within 15 days from the end of the month. Transfer pricing compliances were introduced in 2020 with threshold limits for declaration of transfer pricing filings, as well as the limits to hold local and local master files. Of course, just as in any other country, the arm's length nature of transaction is very key, and the Qatar government urges that the arm's length nature of transaction is looked into while ascertaining transfer pricing compliances. So broadly, as such, the taxation structure is very simple in Qatar. As of now, it only talks about corporate tax and corporate income tax, which is on corporates, and the excise tax. There is no other taxation as at the moment, even though we are looking at VAT and VAT coming up. Of course, there is no discussion or talk on personal income tax at the moment, and we do not expect personal income tax to be levied anytime in the near future. For Indian chartered accountants, right now in Qatar, we have over 500 chartered accountants that are members of the Doha chapter, and it's counting, as I mentioned. We have chartered accountants across industries and senior positions, be it banking, be it oil and gas, be it telecommunications, ministries, healthcare. Everywhere you have chartered accountants as CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, and chief technology officers as well. The Doha chapter, of course, was the first overseas chapter established in 1981. Apart from the industry, we also have chartered accountants in practice, as well as with consulting firms. You have all the big top 10 accounting firms that in Qatar, as well as a lot of other global accounting firms that have established their business in Qatar. Indian chartered accountant firms over the last 3-4 years, we have seen a lot of influx in terms of Indian chartered accountants that have set up their branches in Qatar and have set up successful businesses, many of whom have been members of the Doha chapter for quite some time. This has actually helped. This has actually been a case where they have worked in industry for a particular time and have realized that there is a lot of opportunity for Indian chartered accountants to be in practice and set up firms in Qatar. and that has actually helped, as we see the number of Indian chartered accountant firms growing. CA firms in India can be set up through two ownership models. One would be through the Ministry of Commerce and Economy, and the other through the Qatar Financial Center. The MOCE, or the Ministry of Commerce and Economy, is a mode through which one can set up an audit firm. If the requirement is to set up a firm for audit, wherein you need to register for a license with the Ministry of Commerce and Economy. Any Indian chartered accountant with 10 years of experience can apply for a license with the MOCE. There is no specific examination to clear, and however, the MOCE registration requires a 51% ownership from a Qatari partner. Once that is done, a license is issued, and then a partnership firm can be created for the performance of audit in the state of Qatar. In terms of any other services other than audit, be it risk advisory, consultancy, technology, data digital, or anything that can be provided, these can be set up under the MOCE route or through the Qatar Financial Center route. Now, the Qatar Financial Center, as I will mention, is a onshore-offshore regulator that is set up in the state of Qatar to encourage a lot investment in and firms to be set up in for certain specified types of businesses. Here, once the firms are set up under the QFC, they can be set up with 100% of ownership, along with various other benefits that the QFC provides. Most importantly, for Indian chartered accountants, we have an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, between the QFC and ICAI, which has been going on for the last 2 years and is currently under discussion for renewal. Now, this is one of the key factors of this particular MOU, export of accounting services from India to the state of Qatar. Now, the QFC has encouraged such accounting services being established within the state of Qatar, and Indian chartered accountants have been regarded with high regard. It's a single window application, and the QFC handholds the entire application to the registration and licensing of Indian chartered accountant firms in Qatar. In terms of ease of doing business, Qatar ranks number 77. This has actually the rank has grown from 88 to 77 over the last year. This has been through various steps that the Qatari government has taken in terms of providing single window application for and also encouraging foreign direct investments, opening up various other sectors for investment by foreign organizations within the state of Qatar. As I said, the Qatar Financial Center is a regulator. Its focus is to help organizations, international organizations, set up their business in Qatar, focusing on financial services, sports, and digital media. For your information, even the Doha chapter of ICAI is a company, a limited liability company registered under the QFC for providing as a not-for-profit organization. We were the first professional organization, international professional organization, to be registered under the QFC. It allows for onshore jurisdiction. What does that mean? That the QFC allows for international law to be applied, even though the firm may be set up in the state of Qatar. 100% foreign ownership is something that is provided by the QFC. It also allows 100% foreign repatriation of profits generated by these firms in the state of Qatar. It's a single window application, a competitive tax system, of course. That same 10% of tax or corporate tax applies on locally sourced profit. Of course, there is no personal income tax, wealth tax, and that applies even within the QFC, just as it is on mainland Qatar. Currently, we have over the QFC. We have close to about 30 chartered accountant firms that were registered across the period of the last 3 years, 3 to 4 years, and the current number may be much higher that we have seen getting registered as far as to provide consulting and advisory services within the state of Qatar. The MOU was signed to create more opportunities for accountants, promote entrepreneurship, and facilitate the setup of Indian firms through collaborative initiatives. We have seen this MOU actually yield success to Indian chartered accountants, and we as the Doha chapter have been acting as a liaison between the ICAI India and the QFC to be able to assist Indian chartered accountant firms and coordinate their registration with the QFC. Now let's move on to the opportunities for Indian chartered accountant firms. Of course, the standard audit, which is the external audit or statutory audit, as you may call it back in India, that exists. Taxation, with the advent of corporate filing tax and a Dariba system for tax filing has become a big source of opportunity for Indian chartered accountants. Country by country reporting requirements that have been introduced by the state of Qatar has also been a case where a lot of CA firms have shown interest and have had opportunity. In-country valuation certification has been a regulatory requirement that was introduced in Qatar for organizations to be eligible to participate in tenders in certain specific industry sectors such as oil and gas. So in-country valuation is a regulatory requirement that most of the organizations within Qatar participate in so that they can grow their business and participate in tenders within the organization. The in-country valuation is nothing but it showcases the amount of the existence of a permanent establishment within the state of Qatar. It also showcases the amount of assets and employment that a firm creates, an organization creates within the state of Qatar, and then it gives a ranking or a score for that particular organization. A minimum score is required to be eligible, and this score varies from industry to industry to be eligible for tenders from that particular industry. Valuation and feasibility studies, with the advent of a lot of new organizations setting up with FDIs in Qatar and a lot of mergers happening, valuation, feasibility studies, and mergers and acquisition these opportunities are also growing for chartered accountants within Qatar. Transfer pricing, since its introduction in 2020, transfer pricing laws and application has grown. We've had a lot of our own members focusing on transfer pricing and growing their business, because we see that this is a case where there's a lot of opportunity and involvement and compliance requirements that we as chartered accountants can definitely assist organizations in Qatar. Moving on to the data digital. Now we as chartered accountants also need to upskill ourselves so that we stay relevant. And this is an area that that Indian CAs are getting involved in. Qatar has focused a lot on automation. Today, most of the government businesses are run through automated systems and through websites, and everything is online. So with this, plus organizations encouraging online cashless payments, there is a lot of opportunity on big data, digital, and automation within Qatar. I still remember there were over 6 years ago, Qatar introduced a cashless payment system right from the time you land at the Doha airport, where the immigration for the visa on arrival, the immigration would not accept cash. The immigration authorities would only accept credit cards, and that was done long before other countries have brought in automation, even at the immigration bureau kind of services. Corporate governance. The Qatar government introduced corporate governance code in 2018, through which internet financial controls, which is similar to IFC or SOX that you see globally, was introduced, and listed companies are liable to get their internal financial controls assessed independently on a regular basis. Anti-money laundering law was introduced in 2019, and this is a source of opportunity where a lot of anti-money laundering support has been provided by chartered accountants. Qatar has been a victim of a lot of cybersecurity issues in the past, in the past few years. The Qatar government brought in a cybersecurity framework that was applied across government as well as private organizations. Many organizations where many chartered accountant organizations were involved in building this framework. And I personally know chartered accountants that have actually helped in building this entire framework for organizations and also assessing the cybersecurity for them to make sure that they are well protected. And this has been another big source of opportunity for Indian chartered accountants in Qatar. So what we've seen for as opportunities is that it is diversified. Initially, over when I landed in Qatar, the focus was more towards the traditional services that we provide towards external audit and taxation and probably assurance. But then slowly we have seen the diversification of services and opportunities that exist for us as chartered accountants. However, things may sound very rosy in terms of the country, in terms of the opportunities, but there are certain things that we need to keep in mind. Relatively higher costs of business. It is a country that is where the cost of living is high. However, so that is a point to be kept in mind. Qatar is a very small country, so with a lot of companies and firms, global organizations setting up their base there, the competition has grown. So it's a highly competitive market, especially on the consulting and the audit standpoint of view. There is a lot of opportunity still. We are not yet into saturation, but it is very, very competitive. One of the things that we as Doha chapter have been working a lot with the Ministry of Education is for the recognition of the CA qualification for visa purposes. Even though chartered accountants are held in very high regard in the state of Qatar, when you apply for your work permit, when you to the state of Qatar, it will be through your graduation or post-graduation degrees that you have earned in India. And currently, chartered accountancy or other accounting certifications from many countries globally are not yet recognized for the purpose of visas or work permits in the state of Qatar. This has been on the top of our to-do push for many years. We've been working with the QFC and the Ministry of Education to have this recognized and considered as an education for requirement or a qualification for the visa purposes. Culture shift. A challenge would be an opportunity too, of course. It is the culture within Qatar is slightly conservative. At the same time, it is cosmopolitan. It doesn't mean that it's not open. It is very open. The country is very open, very safe. There are no restrictions in terms of how you handle yourself or how you go about business and how even for family life. However, it is of course a different culture when you compare it with the West or probably even India for that matter. So these are certain things that need to be kept in mind. And of course, as was mentioned very correctly by Hari Kishan as well, that communication and listening is very important in the Middle East. And this is something that applies here as well in Qatar. So here it is a case of you listen more, you get more. And that's how Indian chartered accountants are held with high regard here. The Doha chapter of ICAI, we are here to help. We have a portal called eSahayata, through which we circulate opportunities for Indian chartered accountants. It is also for chartered accountants that are looking for opportunities in the state of Qatar. We just act as a liaison to between the employer and the chartered accountant looking for jobs in Qatar, and assist them in sharing opportunities. We also support local chartered accountants that have lost their jobs for various reasons to look for some other jobs that would be possible in Qatar. As I mentioned, most of our members are in senior positions that are also assist. Just like Emiratization, there is a Qatarization also that needs to be kept in mind. Especially in the government sector, there is a restriction in terms of the number of the locals that are employed, the number of expats that are employed compared to the number of locals. We've been supporting in connecting Indian chartered accountant firms, as I said, with the QFC, and have helped many such firms set up their business in Qatar. We have provided opportunities to connect with local CAs. We have seen that many chartered accountant firms in India who wanted to set up business in Qatar, or even individuals who wanted to work in Qatar, wanted to reach out to one of us who's already there to understand how it is to work there, what is the lifestyle, is it safe, how is the education, how is family life, and various other things that one would have in mind. Uh, and we do help in setting up such connections and networking sessions with our members, and we're happy to do that. We we believe that it is a country that is perfectly suited for us chartered accountants, and there is a lot of opportunity that we see for Indian chartered accountants in this country. Also, we help with the in moving and general guidance for chartered accountants right from the time that they decide to move to Qatar, and once they're there, also once they link up with us, and also have any queries in terms of how they can set up their establishment in Qatar, we are there as ICAI. We, along with the other countries in the GCC, be it UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, uh, we are also an exam center for the ICAI exam. As we speak, we are currently conducting that as well. So we have been an exam center for a long, long time, and we encourage the number of chartered accountants locally as well to grow and provide their examinations from the state of Qatar. So, as such, before I close, I think I just had a couple of things to mention. Uh, the country of Qatar, the state of Qatar, is a very, very open, welcoming, and progressive country with a lot of opportunities for chartered accountants. We here at the Doha chapter are here and coordinate a lot with ICAI India as well. And we've spoken at past conferences as well, where we have mentioned the opportunities that exist within the state of Qatar. We look forward to hearing from all of you. And if anybody has any queries on and is looking to move to the state of Qatar, please reach out to any of our members there. And I'm sure most of us would be happy to support you and look forward to having you in Qatar. Um, so that's it from my side for the moment. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have on professional opportunities as such, or the structure within Qatar. I thought I'd keep it short and take questions that would be more useful.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. You have covered most of, I think so, all the queries in your slide itself. Okay, how the DOA chapter will help all the see the opportunities. Quite questions I got from the members that what is the audit compliance is for company in the free zone?
So companies in the free zone are required to get their books audited, be it the Qatar Financial Center as well as the free zone. The free zone provides benefit to companies in terms of establishment of 100% ownership, as well as repatriation, as well as however, when it comes to audit, these companies are required to get their books audited as well.
Yeah,
unless they are a not-for-profit organization with a with no revenues of incomes that are coming through.
Yeah. One of the query is who can practice in Doha? Any experience criteria required for the auditing or anything that's required?
Yeah, as I mentioned, to be able to get a license to practice, to certify financials in Qatar, you need to an Indian chartered account. You need to be an Indian chartered accountant with 10 years of experience. You don't need to clear any exams, uh, and then you'll be eligible to set up a firm to be or practice to sign, financials. However, for any other services other than certifications, there is no such requirement. Any Indian chartered accountant can provide any other services.
One of the questions that for the fresh year, any salary criteria from your past experience you can share?
I intentionally did not put up that slide. I did not want to show any numbers, which would probably just the salary numbers would really not reflect what it is. But okay, let me put it this way: it slightly differs from industry to consulting. And again, the kind of background that you're coming with. If it is a fresh chartered accountant that you're looking at, uh, it could run anywhere between 10, 10,000 to 12,000 to 15,000 reals, as a per month. Let's say 10,000 to 15,000 reals per month, depending, of course, on your background and organization. This would be the consulting space. The industry space would probably be slightly lesser. It would be about 8,000 to 12,000 real. And this is a range that I'm giving. Of course, this keeps moving up and down. This is the month. And of course, what you see is what you get in most countries in the Middle East. There is no deductions. There are no taxations. So if I say a number 10,000, when you see that number, that is what you get in hand. So you can be rest assured about that.
Thank you. Most of, I think so, the other question you already cover in your slide. So thank you. Thank you very much, sir. At the start, Mr. Ankush Gupta introduced as a speaker have a multiple country knowledge. So we see from your side and definitely from your speech, you have a wide knowledge and the governance of the in the Doha. You have taken all the points, the opportunity of the chartered accountants in Doha, the opportunity other way around, how the salary will be in your question answer. You have covered most of the things. So thank you from on behalf of ICI and on behalf of young and women community. I will thank you for the today's session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, CA Yogesh, and thanks to Ruchi and all of you, to Preeti, Ruchi, and the entire team. It is our pleasure, and we look forward to interacting with all of you. Feel free to reach out to us on our website and or on our handles, and we are happy to support on any queries that any of you chartered accountants may have, and we are happy to help.
Yeah, you already mentioned over a 500 chartered accountants are member of the Doha chapter. That is impressive in numbers, sir. That is quite impressive. And also the MOAC, C and QFC, the model you already pointed, that is very impressive for the chartered accountants to go ahead with the Doha. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah. With regard to the today's session, I address CA Preeti Savla, Chairman of the Women and Young Member Excellent Committee, for making an opportunity water flow of young chartered accountant to go overseas in market. I like to thank on behalf of ICI to both the speakers who had given their best to give in-depth tax and opportunity for chartered accountant knowledge and a professional setup outside in India, Qatar and UAE. Thank you very much, all the members and the attendee to head the today's speaker. Thank you very much. Hand it over to the technical team.
Thank you very much.